He left a 2-4-5. Paul strikes again. Boy, he'll be thinking back if he goes all the way from here to that fourth frame when he left that 10
That's
pin.
right. And this one he really arced out, Jay. As you can see the ball coming from way out on the side of the lane back to the pins. Now watch him mix again. This is the hit he wants. This is what carries the best. The problem is now the players may have later, the problem they may have later is they keep arcing the ball out there. They carry oil out into that area of the lane. And when that happens, all of a sudden the ball doesn't make that move back to the pocket. It skids and they get the washout of the bucket.
And another strike for Renteria. Again, we're having a little problem with that camera, but he has really been splendid here in this opening match.
I'm glad that was the camera. Not, I thought my eyes were going bad for a minute there, Jim.
And a strike for Bowling. Difficult to cover a sport like this in a confined area with these cameras, and the follow focus situation sometimes becomes a problem when the elements aren't all working together.
It's hard to follow that ball. It's moving down the lane at 18, 19 miles an hour. The rotation, you're trying to pick up the rotation. It's hard to keep up with it. Oh, there you go.
A little break for Bowling.
Yeah, too little, too late, though, Jay, I think. But he'll gain a lot of experience here. He'll be tougher next time out. As you can see, he's playing right inside the third arrow, trying to keep the ball down the lane, well down the lane. That's his game, is to go more direct, as opposed to, of course, Renteria, who is really arcing the ball out, and you'll see Jeff Bellinger in the next match. Both players, Renteria and, of course, Bellinger, arc the ball a lot.
Brad used to watch a lot of televised bowling, and he remembers watching people like Marshall Holman and Mark Roth and my partner Earl Anthony. Got him interested, he said, watching TV.
That's going back a lot of years already, Jay. Well, that's a good finish for the young guy. First time on television. I'm sure he's disappointed, Jay, but he'll do better next time.
A 195 for Bowling. Bowling is going to take down the $6,000 fifth prize. This big game working for Renteria. Oh, my.
It's interesting to note also, Jay, before we get away from this match, that Renteria is throwing a very shiny, as you see him spin the ball to clean the oil off the surface so it doesn't get on his hands, spinning it on his towel. That ball is very shiny, and because he gets so many revolutions on the ball, he wants that smooth, shiny surface so it doesn't hook too soon. As opposed to Brad Bowling, who was using a rough shell bowling ball so he could get more hook.
Well, it's a bit after the fact, but I do want to mention, because there's a lot of bowling left, it's $100,000 from our friends at True Value for a perfect game today.
Well, you know, he's got a chance to throw 11 strikes for 279, and the one solid 10 pin could have been it, Jay.
Come on, ball, go! Boy, that's as fine a performance as we've seen in a long time. Renteria, 279. Bowling, 195. Back with more of the Brunswick Memorial World Open right at 1800. Scott Devers, he's been going pretty well of late.
Going strong, Jay.
Tom Baker and Ron Palumbi there in the spots. David Ozio from Piner, Texas. Been a wonderful week here. Of course, this is a very special event on tour, and the format is a little different, using the long format here.
This is what we call our national format, the 56-game event, and it's a grind for the guys, Jay.
Brian Voss, young man from Tacoma, Washington. Dave Husted. It was Mike Taylor, Carlsbad, California, in the number 6 spot. Well, our second match of the afternoon is coming up from here in Glendale Heights, right after we take time out for this. He starts off in fine fashion.
This is going to be a real match of the boomers, the guys that really like to hook it. Now, you've seen Renteria bowl the first match and shoot a tremendous score. Watch Jeff Bellinger. Very strong, very, very powerful bowling ball.
This fella really goes at it. Over $240,000 won in his career.
Look at that rotation. My.
A nice opening for Bellinger. 6 foot tall, 215 pounds, from Columbia, South Carolina. He majored in accounting while at the University of South Carolina.
Watch the power in his wrist, way out on the lane. He likes to get the ball well down the lane because he knows he can hook it on anything, Jay, and that powerful rotation on the ball brings it back. And it's almost the same arc that Renteria is playing, only Jeff isn't quite as far toward the middle of the lane when he starts it. He's throwing it out on the lane to delay the hook.
This is his 11th career championship round.
You see the ball going between the 3rd and 4th arrows.
And he had a high game of 288 this week. There was one 300 game throughout the week's play. It went to Tony Westlake. Let's remind you again, $100,000 from True Value for a perfect game. Commissioner of the PBA here from Akron, Ohio, Joe Antonora. He's got to be happy with the way things are going. Boy, that one turned, and he left the 9-pin.
Now that ball, the reason he left that 9-pin was that ball actually gripped the lane too hard. Now watch him. He's playing basically the same arc that Jeff Bellinger between the 3rd and 4th. But watch the ball jump on the end. See it there? And actually cut in front. Remember, to get the ball to react properly in the pins, see that ball cut through? The ball should take out the 1-3-5-9.
Got a little,
broke too sharp.
Got a little too much of the head pin, didn't it?
Well, it actually was just gripping the lane so hard it didn't deflect at all. You have to have some deflection. And this ball actually rode too hard, too strong.
Renteria became a pro because he really always loved this sport. He opted for bowling instead of baseball. I understand he was an outstanding baseball player. Down they go for Renteria. Career earnings of better than $23,000. He's won $15,260 this year. Bellinger started with a double. Jeff's first appearance in the championship round this year. Last year, he captured his first PBA title at Buffalo. Defeated Brian Voss. And then Randy Johnson in the title match. Now there's the 10-pin.
There's the 10 on that solid hit. And the players that have carried the best, obviously, as you see, how they've been having, the reason they've carried is because they've arced the ball so wide into the pins. Now that ball deflected. See it deflect. So it goes off the pin deck. And you see the 6 go up and around the 10. Doesn't get it off the kickback. And Jeff is a good spare shooter. Watch the different way he throws the ball. Cross lane, a lot of ball speed, and right at it.
We have 7 titles among the finalists here. Here's Jack Reichert, the president and CEO, chairman of Brunswick Corporation. Those folks are very much involved, of course, in the world of bowling, and we've had such a marvelous week here. The international flavor of this event. The highest foreign finisher this week was Takeyoki Ryu from Japan, who finished 40th.
I'm glad you said that name, Jay, and not me. I could have spent 5 minutes trying to get that out.
And Bellinger strikes in the 4th. He's up by 9. More action coming your way right after these messages. Golf next week for the Breeders' Cup, and then to Columbus and Taylor, Michigan, and it's going to be a very interesting finish to the fall tour. Bellinger with a strike in the 5th and a lead of 10. You've talked about how strong this fella is. He really gets the job done.
Well, one of his nicknames is Popeye. Take a look at those forearms. Watch him come through. Look at the size of that forearm. Here's a guy that can hit a golf ball on his by standing on his knees and hit it 290 yards.
I've heard about that. I want to see that. You know, I really do want to see it.
Or he can stand on one foot and hit it 290. Think about that. Now look at the strength in those forearms. And that's why he can rotate that bowling ball so much. 16-pound bowling ball. He rotates it like it weighs 8 pounds.
He asked for a re-rack here in the 6th. Now on lane 21. Strike for Bellinger.
Today's players are the power players. The game has changed drastically in the last 10 years. These are the guys, these are the bowlers of the future.
There's Phyllis Bellinger. They have a daughter, Kimberly Ann. So both Bellinger and Renteria have their wives on hand rooting for them. Oh, the 10 won't go down.
Paul's ball is rolling so hard. He's starting to make adjustments because the ball is hitting the pin so hard. He's moved in farther with his feet on the approach to arc the ball more, and this ball just doesn't quite get back strong enough. You see it deflect and leave the 10 pin. What we call the weak 10 because the 6 pin laid in the channel. The ball really didn't hit as hard as it normally does for him. I think he's, by moving on his angle, especially on the right-hand lane, as I said earlier, it's hooking a lot more, at least 2 boards more than the left-hand lane. He's trying to make adjustments that'll get the ball to hit a little softer in the pocket so he feels he'll carry better.
Earl, it's interesting to note both of these fellas do a lot of practice during the week. Renteria told me he practices over 100 games a week, and Bellinger at about 150. They don't back off, apparently, at any time.
Well, if you want to win out here against the best players, you better be ready. That's trouble. And he got the break there, Jay. That's the first ball he's had out of the pocket in over a game and a half, and he got a good break, leaving only the 6-10.
Old friend of mine from St. Louis, Ed Sweeney, the president of the American Bowling Congress, and a man whose family has been involved in bowling for many, many, many years.
He does a wonderful job for bowling, too.
Dad founded the WIBC. Many of you know that, I'm sure. And the spare for Renteria. And Bellinger has a 23-pin lead, and we'll be back with more right after this. Renteria finds himself in a hole. He's down 43 pins. Bellinger with 5 in a row.
Right now, the most that Renteria can shoot is 236. That's by striking all the way out, the 8th, 9th, and 10th frame. Bellinger going right now at a 249 pace. So he needs to strike out, and he needs Bellinger to make some sort of a mistake. Not likely the way Jeff's throwing the ball at this point. That's a disaster.
Yeah, that's the first real problem for him, and that is a disaster at this point in the proceedings.
When all those shots, remember, he went through the first game, shot 279 with 11 strikes. The second game, he went through the first 6 frames, got some bad breaks on good shots, and now in the last 2 frames is the first really trouble he's had when he hit the nose, left the 610, as you see this ball coming in behind the head pin. And the oil is starting to carry down. And when that happens, the boom players, the guys that really arc it a lot, it gets out into that little bit of oil that's carried down on the bowling balls. And if they get an erratic reaction, the ball doesn't finish quite the way they wanted it to. And that's what's starting to happen to Paul's ball.
For the second week in a row, 2 players making the television show for the first time. Last week, of course, we had Mike Taylor and Randy Harvey. This week, Renteria and bowling. It's a reversal of what happened in the first match here.
It is.
And he comes back with a strike in the 9th.
Jeff Bellinger can match the score that Paul Renteria bowled the first game, that 279, by striking out in the 9th and 10th. This match is history. They're just bowling for show now, folks. See how many strikes they can get. Jeff is, I'm sure, thinking that he's won this match. He wants to stay sharp going into the next match. They don't get any easier. The next one is Walter Ray Williams, last year's bowler of the year. Tremendous strength and power in that release. Look at the rotation of that ball. It's like it's got a motor in it.
This was tough for him.
Well, it would have been a lot tougher if he needed it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, he left the 10 pin in the 3rd and this 9 that nearly went down in the 9th. And Jeff Bellinger, who has 1 PBA title to his credit, will be moving along to face the very talented Walter Ray Williams Jr. Bellinger is our winner, and he'll be coming up against Williams. We'll be back with more from the Memorial World Open right after these messages.
Now, just so you have an understanding of what's happening out there, the player that finishes higher in the standings after Friday night's match play has the choice of starting or finishing lanes. In other words, what's happened here is Walter Ray Williams has determined that he wants Jeff Bellinger to start the match so that Walter Ray will finish first, and he'll finish on lane 21.
And Jeff was a little high with that one.
And that happens many times after a break. The players sit there and they are thinking and thinking, and Jeff really wasn't quite as firm with that shot as he has been with the others. Bowling against Walter Ray Williams adds a little pressure to the match also for Jeff Bellinger, because he knows that Walter Ray is capable, very capable of shooting a big game at him.
Well, Bellinger, as one of his goals these days, of course, getting back to the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He could do that with a win here today. Here's Walter Ray Williams, 28 years old, Stockton, California.
Oh, Deadeye, they call him. That's why.
And that is why. You're right. He has 5 PBA titles to his credit. And, of course, he is also one of the finest horseshoe pitchers in all the world.
As you see now, he is playing a completely different angle of attack on the lanes than any of the other 4 players you're going to watch today. Walter Ray Williams is playing an extreme outside angle, which is near the channel. He's playing right between the first and second arrow. You see that ball? End over end roll. A lot of ball speed.
Great action.
And what he does is he's going to his strength. His strength, the best thing that Walter Ray Williams has going for him is his accuracy and speed control. He is the most accurate player on the tour, and he can maintain that real firm speed. He's a big, strong young man. After throwing those horseshoes around for the last 20-some years, I guess that bowling ball feels pretty light.
And Bellinger leaving the 9-pin.
The penalties of the strength in the bowling ball when you have actually all that power, as you can see, look at the ball rotating sideways. It's sliding, grips the lane, hooks very sharply, and he actually goes in front of the 9.
Last year, he made the finals in Milwaukee, but finished 5th, losing to Brian Voss.
Jeff hasn't done extremely well over the years on television. He's bowled about 16 games, I believe, Jay, and he's like 7-9 or something. He wants to improve on that. Now, if he wins this game today against Walter Ray Williams, it'll put him at 500, 9-9, because he's already won his first match, obviously.
He was 15th at Firestone. Has career earnings of over $240,000. Has won just a little over $29,000 this year. On the TV pair this week, he averaged 224. And Bellinger with his first strike in the match, coming here in the 3rd. He is down by 11. We've had some high scores here today, of course, and
ups and downs. We've had some tremendously high scores and some 180s, 190. Yeah.
$100,000.
212 and a perfect 279, and he's not bowling anymore, Paul Rennery. Think about it that way.
That's right, yeah. Oh, that one didn't get up for him. Williams leaves the 2-4-5 here in the 3rd.
The worn area of the lane is called the track area on the lane. That's generally between the 2nd and 3rd arrow. Now, the right-handers that you see really hooking the ball a lot, Jeff Bellinger, Renneria, I can't even say his name right. I'm getting tongue-tied here. They're trying to play inside that track area and catch it way down the lane because it creates more friction. It's a worn area. It makes the ball go way. They want to get inside in the oil, slide the ball, and catch that track area way down the lane. Whereas Walter Ray Williams is doing just the opposite. He's going around the track area from the outside near the channel and trying to catch the track area way down the lane.
If he wins today, he'll become the first player to win 3 titles this year. That would put him in the forefront to return as Player of the Year. Bingo. Bellinger and Williams going at it. Williams leading by 8 pins. More action right after this.
Round of lights here.
1-8, bowling in the 4th, lane 22.
On a strike, one here would take the lead.
All right, he says.
He liked that one. Now, that's a big break for Jeff. His ball, again, hits so hard that it's unusual for him to trip the 4-pin like that. Normally, it'll cut through and leave the 4 or the 4-9. So that's a big break for Jeff. It was a good shot, and he got the good break. As you can see, Jeff's up by 2 pins in the 5th, going into the 5th frame on a double.
He was an outstanding college bowler, as I mentioned earlier. Went to school at University of South Carolina down at Columbia, the Gamecocks.
Got to hurry. Hit him thin and watch him spin. My old friend Billy Whaley used to say. Look at the power. Look at the rotation, the side from right to left rotation. Once the ball grips the lane, it breaks very sharply. That's what makes those pins dance. Look at the look on Jeff's face. Come on, ball. Get up there.
Yes. Walter Ray Williams.
It's trouble. Oh, it's set up. My, what a surprise that was for me. I watched that ball going down the lane. I thought it was going to hook high in the head pin. It stayed right there. That's that end over end roll as opposed to the roll that you see on Jeff Bellinger's ball, which rotates right to left. Walter Ray's ball rolling down the lane is end over end, meaning it's rolling directly at the pins.
Has 5 titles. He captured his 5th title when he defeated, or when he defended, I should say, his title at the Hammer Open down in Edmond, Oklahoma. And he's left the 4-pin there. Last year he led the PBA in earnings with 145,000 plus. Walter Ray.
You see him really attacking the pocket, Jay, right up and at him. No arc at all in the ball, and just a hair high for him. He liked it when he let go of it, but he doesn't like the result. My. He's changing balls for the spare, as we told Mr. Lemon. Remember when I told Abe about why they change balls for spares?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was listening that day. Maybe I should repeat it.
Why don't you repeat it?
Should I repeat that?
I like it.
I'm going to the reason that you'll see some of the bowlers, not all, change balls for to shoot their spares is they'll take a very smooth, shiny surface bowling ball, one they know will not hook. All they're trying to do is hit the pin. They don't have to make a big hook or roll the ball extremely well to knock down one pin. Just hit it. And it's not the color, Abe. It's not the reason they're changing. They're not changing because it's a prettier color. They're changing to get the right ball reaction. It's not the color. I promise, Abe, if you're listening, it's not.
Well, Bellinger comes through again. And now that is 4 in a row. And he's up by 13 pins. And he is rolling very confidently right now.
Look at that strength as he rotates the wrist around the side and up the side of the ball. That's what makes the ball do that. It's not what people sometimes say, the fingers or that kind of stuff. It's the strength in the forearm and wrist.
When you have this kind of power, Earl, does it help to make some breaks for you?
It does on the light hits, Jay. Generally, he'll carry a lot of the off hits. What most bowlers would leave maybe the 5-pin or a weak 10 or the bucket or something like that. Jeff's ball, because it's rotating so sharply and hitting so hard, gripping the lane so much, will actually make the pins fly more and intermix with each other, and he'll carry those off hits better than most of the bowlers will. Actually, the worst hit for him is a high solid hit in the pocket. That's when he'll leave something like the 4 or the solid 8 or the solid 9.
10-pin for him. Well, it was a good run.
Well, 4 in a row isn't too bad. You're right, Jay. And here we see the shot again from Jeff. Now, this one, watch. He's a little more direct with this. This, again, is the left lane, which is tighter or has more oil, less hook. So he's a little more direct, and the ball doesn't make the sharp break, and he leaves the 10-pin. Cross lane at the spare. Again, you'll see him relax his wrist and throw the ball a lot more speed and straight.
All right. We have Williams down by 12, Bellinger up by 12. Now this from your local station. Final round today as the defending champion Andy Bean, the big guy from Florida, and Sandy Lyle are battling it out for the top honors. And also involved in that tournament, Buddy Lee Trevino, Ben Crenshaw, and lots of other international stars. The Isuzu Kapalua. Prize money here, $33,000 for first, $17,000 for second. Third prize, $9,000. Waiting in the wings, the man who is up on top, Ballard Jr., current U.S. Open champion. He qualified first here this week. Walter Ray Williams Jr. down by 12. He's asked for a re-rack. He bowls here in the 7th on lane 22, and the 10-pin stands.
Now, Walter Ray, all through the tournament, in the morning blocks, the early rounds, he would bowl from the outside angle. As the lanes changed and started hooking more, as the oil moved around, he would go inside, or what we call an inside line around the third, between the 3rd and 4th arrow, as the other players are doing. Walter doesn't like to hook the ball a lot. He'd prefer to stay out near the channel and go up at him, and that's what he's trying to do right now. He's down by 13 after 7 frames completed by both players. And here's where it gets to the crunch time, folks. When you're bowling match play, the last 3 frames are the ones you want to really make good shots. Can't afford a mistake now. And he made a mistake and got away with it.
He was able to get out of a real jam there, I'll tell you.
That's the biggest break of the day, and maybe with Bowler of the Year on the line, could be the biggest break of the year for Walter Ray Williams. Look at that, dead on the middle of the head pin. He's got the 4-6 standing, an impossible spare, and they fall forward. They fall toward him. What a break. Now that has to affect the way Jeff Bellinger is thinking. He's an experienced pro. Here he is in the 8th frame. His opponent got lucky. He can't afford to let that bother him. He's got to make good shots. And he gets the bad break
with the split.
Now see there,
Yeah.
This is what you talk about, and it's true in every sport. Every sport has the good breaks and the bad breaks. Now, unfortunately for Jeff, he made a good shot, got what they call a pocket split, a 4-9. The ball just cut through too hard. Watch the ball, it won't deflect, it'll cut right through in front of the 9, and just no pin action at all. Now he's trying to consider, do I go for this? He's smart if he goes for 1 pin. The pin count right now, Jeff has 166 in the 7th. With 1 pin, he'll have 175, basically an even match. If he goes for 2, he would be behind in the count, unless he picks it up, of course. And he's going for the 1 pin and just was throwing it, saying, well, if I make it, I make it, but I'm going to get 1. And here we are,
all even.
8 frames, all even, Jay, and you know what happens next. Tell me about it.
Well, if we had a tie, we could have a roll-off.
You betcha. How's that work?
If you don't know, old left-hander.
A 9th and 10th frame roll-off is what would happen in the case of a tie. But right now, we're a long way from that. We still have the 9th and 10th frames to bowl in this match. Jeff Bellinger on the open, bowling in the 9th frame. Way out and back.
And he got it back.
Yes, sir. Well, if anybody can hook it back, it's Jeff Bellinger. If he makes a mistake, he wants to make it to the right. He knows he can hook it back. He doesn't want to set the ball short, get it rolling too soon. That's when he gets the big splits or the 4-9, things like that. Walter Ray Williams on a strike, a chance to take the lead. Here he is, 9th frame.
Last year's Player of the Year might be this year's Player of the Year.
And he got it. And that's why you become Player of the Year. You make those kind of shots under pressure. He has a chance to close the match out with 2 strikes in the 10th. He'd be in the 240s. Jeff Bellinger, the most he can shoot is 235. So Jeff's sitting there saying, I hope he doesn't strike, and Walter Ray saying, I need 2 more right now. Still anybody's match. There they go. All right. Now we definitely have the chance of a tie. Walter Ray gets one more strike, he will be the outright winner. But if he gets 9 spare, we could definitely have a tie. As you see Walter Ray, now everybody says he looks like an eagle going to the foul line. You see how he spreads his wings? He likes it. When he let go, he knew he made a good shot. And here's where he goes to his forte, the strength in his game, the accuracy. You know when he needs it, he's going to hit the pocket.
Discussing something there with, oh, there's a pin stuck, and
the Brunswick mechanics back there, I'm sure he'll take care of that. As you see him just kind of reach in, pull that pin out of the way, and Walter Ray's ready to go. Remember, if he strikes, he's the winner. If he doesn't, Jeff Bellinger's still alive.
And there it is. Walter Ray Williams now with an opportunity for the $33,000.
All he has to do now is keep it on the lane. Don't foul. Don't throw it in the channel. None of those things you'd ever expect a professional to do, but strange things happen, Jay. So just one pin to win the match. And we have a winner.
And Walter Ray Williams defeating Jeff Bellinger. Williams with a score of 245. We've seen some fine bowling here this afternoon.
We have.
And I'm really looking forward to this championship match.
It's really set up for us now, Jay. Del Ballard, who you mentioned earlier, is the defending U.S. Open champion, which he won in January in my hometown of Tacoma, Washington. He won $100,000, first place there. That puts him right now in the driver's seat if he wins today for Bowler of the Year. The same thing with Walter Ray Williams. He's won twice this year. This could be his third win, and he would be about 4th place in the money standings if he were to win the next match, so it's still up in the air. Anything can happen.
And, you know, we've been talking about we still have 2 tournaments remaining. We're expecting the return of defending champion Dave Ferraro at Columbus in 2 weeks for the Budweiser Classic. He and his wife Gloria are proud new parents of a baby boy. And you see Bellinger moving off there, and Walter Ray Williams Jr. has come through with his victory, 245 to 203 over Bellinger. Junior's going for $33,000. And we're set now for the championship match, and there's Mark Roth, and you're going to give him a check for $600 and just get this thing over with. Johnny Petraglia there next to him. Roth failed to break your all-time career earnings mark. He needed only $590 to tie you this week, but he finished 58th and missed the cash by 5 pins. Saw Dave Davis there in the audience too. A lot of the greats of bowling on hand for this very special event. And here is Del Ballard. And Ballard starts off by leaving a 2-pin. Ballard this week, a high game of 279. He averaged 232 on the TV pair. He is 3rd on the money list, the 24-year-old man from Richardson, Texas, 5th year on the tour. He's won $126,655 this year.
But most of that in the opening event of the year, the U.S. Open, where he won $100,000. And he is trying to win another big championship here today, Jay. He's led the tournament, 1 game for all the marbles. Remember, both these players in the running for Bowler of the Year. This is a big match.
Walter Ray starts with a strike. Here's Tom White, the president of the Brunswick division, who's on hand. He'll be passing out the check, $33,000 to the top man.
Boy, he's locked in now, Jay. Walter Ray really looking tough out there. Del Ballard knows he doesn't want Walter Ray to get out early and get too big a lead on him. He'll never catch him. He's got to get started right now. And you'll see that Del Ballard is playing basically the line that Jeff Bellinger played before him. whereas Walter Ray is going very straight and firm outside. There's a big break. Get him started. Got something off the wall there. Tripped the 4, almost had the 4-7-10. Good shot, good roll on the ball.
These two were very consistent all week, as you mentioned. Ballard gets a bit of a break here, and we'll watch it.
Watch the head pin. Kick the 2-pin up against the wall. Comes off, takes out the 4-7.
7th career championship round appearance for Del Ballard. Ballard, who was 3rd after the 3rd round and the 4th round, moved into 2nd and 5th and 6th. And after last night, took over number 1, and that's how he's done it. Williams, on the other hand, was 2nd after the 3rd round, moved into 1st through the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then after last night's position round, finished 2nd here. The Kapalua Golf coming up next for you, except those of you on the West Coast. Andy Bean trying to win his 2nd consecutive Kapalua title.
Hard and straight. Doesn't get the 4-pin. You know, when Del Ballard won the U.S. Open in January, he didn't beat a slouch there, Jay. He beat Pete Weber for the championship. When you consider that he's up against Walter Ray Williams, they're not giving him very easy matches for these championships. And you saw the replay of Walter Ray Williams' ball. And here's the easy spare for him. Right now he's down by 1 pin after 3 completed frames on a spare, whereas Del Ballard has spare and 2 strikes to open the match.
Walter Ray Williams will go over the 400,000 mark in career earnings today.
I bet you that's more than he made throwing horseshoes. What do you think?
Well, he says he'd like to win more money in horseshoes than in bowling, but I think they're going to have to do something about that before he can do it.
Another 4-pin. Again, another good firm shot by Walter Ray. You know, you watch Walter Ray go to the foul line, and it's amazing that he can get there the same way twice in a row. See how he seems to be off balance. His arms are going all over the place. But he is, as I said earlier, maybe the most accurate bowler on the tour right now. And he switches to that smooth, hard-shelled ball so he can throw it right at it. It's a good lesson for the bowlers at home. You don't have to hook the ball a lot to knock down a 1-pin spare. All you got to do is hit it.
We're talking about the money for this year, and that's an important factor in Player of the Year. And over the last decade, of course, the money on tour has increased dramatically. Here's Del on 22.
And he liked that one, Jay. When he let go, you could see the reaction. When he let go of that ball, he knew it was there.
3 in a row and a lead of 12 for Del Ballard.
And he's pumped. You know, Del Ballard, what he does to relax when he's bowling on television, he told me after he won the U.S. Open in January, he has a song in his head that he listens to. That's something, isn't it, that helps him concentrate, keeps him relaxed.
There's an interesting note.
Oh, is that a pun note?
No, that's not a note. That's a problem.
That is a major problem. That ball got out there and just stayed there. He didn't make the turn he wanted on the back. Did you see the release? All that wrist strength. The ball going well down the lane, but watch it hang out there and not quite make the turn back, and a very difficult spare.
It's the 1-2-4, 6-10.
There are 2 ways to make it. You can cross it over like that. Didn't quite cross enough like you would to cover the washout, or you can try to fit it back through the same hole and play the deflection.
Well, Ballard, after 3 in a row, is open in the 5th and a score of 101.
Now watch the ball. It's trying to hook, doesn't quite make the turn. He thinks it's going to get there, but it doesn't. All he needed was maybe another 1/4 of an inch of hook, and he would have picked up the spare.
And Walter Ray didn't get there.
Now remember, in the last 2 balls that Walter Ray has thrown, one on each lane, he left the 4-pin. The ball's a little high on the head pin. And here he's thinking, well, I'm going to throw it just a little harder. And when he does, the ball gets away from him, doesn't make the turn at all. He was fortunate to get away with what he got there, Jay. It could have been a lot more difficult spare than it is. Now he'll try to make the ball cross the head pin here and get all 3 pins with the ball.
Looking at a 1-2-8. The 86 Sporting News PBA Player of the Year, Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
Just like that.
He has a 4-pin lead. Ballard and Williams battling here for $33,000. Here's the scoreboard as this championship match is reaching the midway point. Really had some fine scoring here this afternoon.
We have, and you know that ball that got away from Del Ballard when he left that really a bad 5-pin count there, that could be disastrous for him later in the match because of the count. If Walter Ray keeps his count, he has a 4-pin lead now. If he keeps that pin count lead, the fact that he got that big pin lead when Del Ballard let one ball get away could be the difference in the match.
Earl, we're here in the Chicago area, and they're talking like they're going to play some night games finally at Wrigley Field. Got a deal on them, play 15 games maybe there, and of course a new man, Jim Fry, running the club. A lot of people wondering who's going to be the new manager there. It's always interesting here in Chicago in the world of sports, especially the baseball world.
That's right. Here's a replay of the last shot by Del Ballard when they went high in head pin. Now remember the frame before. Again, the players tend to react to what the ball did the frame before. The ball didn't get back to the head pin. He left that almost impossible spare. This time he makes sure it gets back, and he gets it up there too high. And he misses the spare.
Oh, and Ballard is open here in the 6th, and he finds himself down 15 pins, and that's a big, big miscue.
2 in a row, Jay. 2 opens in a row, 2 disastrous frames for Del Ballard, and a big break for Jay. I mean, for Walter Ray, not for you. He went cross lane at that and tried to kill the ball, kill the shot, and the ball didn't hook at all and slid right by the 3-pin.
Ballard having a real problem here. He's got to battle back right now. But he got a break.
And he's lost.
Brooklyn.
He's
lost, but maybe he was due something after being open there for the 5th and 6th. He strikes in the 7th.
This is the lane, remember, that doesn't hook as much as 22. 22 hooks more than 21. He was trying to keep it direct, and the ball hooked a little more than he wanted it to. Now, here's where Walter Ray is definitely at an advantage. As the lane surface changes, and it will, through the traffic of the bowling balls rolling down the lane, it doesn't affect his ball as much because he goes more direct, end over end, and relies on accuracy.
Williams with 2 in a row and a lead of 25.
Watch this now. A lot of ball speed. Up the boards. The ball never goes away from the pocket. It's rolling up to the pocket from the time it leaves his hand, and the ball speed keeps it on line so it doesn't hook on the middle head pin. This is vintage Walter Ray Williams. This is the way he loves to play the game. Up and at him. A lot of ball speed.
The 10-pin.
A solid 10. He's left a couple of 4s, now a 10-pin, and you know, as he gets a little more and more pumped, we're getting toward the end of the match. This is his 8th frame. He starts to throw the ball even harder. Now watch the ball. It doesn't quite get into a good roll, deflects a little bit, and there's that solid 10. Walter Ray is one of the better spare shooters on the tour, again, because of his tremendous accuracy.
It's a nice average, too, that graphic indicated. He's got those fluorescent silver slacks on today.
He sure does. He's lighting up the room, isn't he?
Wow, wait. Hardly need any lights at all.
I wonder if he borrowed those from our president, Ernie Schlegel. What do you think? You think Kathy, his wife, sent those down for Walter Ray, or did he actually go out and get them himself?
I'll have to ask him about those. I don't know where you buy those.
All right, we're getting to the crunch frames again. Here we go.
Al Ballard strikes in the 8th.
Ballard with that strike, only 14 pins down with the 9th and 10th to go. That one he threw with a lot of confidence, Jay. He liked that one as opposed to the last 3 frames where he had no idea what the ball was doing out there. He looks like he's made a good adjustment and he's comfortable again. Key shot for him now, 9th frame on a double. Has to have this one to have a chance to win the match. Remember, he went Brooklyn on this lane last time. And he carries the 10.
Well, he made the right change there and came through, and he is very much back in it now as Williams' lead is 4.
Remember, the left lane, it doesn't hook as much as the right. As you see Del Ballard's last shot, he's going more direct with the ball and a little more ball speed. Look at the balls go way down the lane and then finish in the pocket, and the 10-pin went down, which still gives him a chance to win the match.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, there's some power for you. That end-over-end roll, but using a lot of angle up to the pocket. And that's what makes that end-over-end roll hit good. If you played that same roll that Walter Ray is using now, that end-over-end, and used it in the center of the lane, for example, where Del Ballard is playing the lanes, the ball would deflect. But from the extreme outside angle, it works well.
9 300 games won this year.
Big shot, 10th frame. Tough spare, tough spare.
Last year, this fella led the PBA in earnings with 145,550.
Watch the ball slide by. He leaves the 2, the 5, and the 8 pin. Very difficult spare, especially for someone that goes as straight as Walter Ray. He switched balls again. Remember, he uses the harder, smoother surface ball for his spares. He needs a little angle on this one. See how he covers it. He must make this spare. Great shot. Oh, my. Shows a lot of courage there. All right, Walter Ray with a strike will finish at 214. Del Ballard right now is going at 210 pace. He needs the first strike to win the match. If Walter Ray gets good count here, he must have a good count.
That good enough?
That's good enough. All right, Walter Ray with 214. Del Ballard has 140 in the 7th, a double in the 8th and 9th. If he gets the first strike in the 10th, he'll be a winner. If he doesn't strike, Walter Ray Williams wins. There's your winner. What a great shot.
Golly, that's amazing, isn't it, the way he battled back?
Now, all he has to do is keep the ball on the lane, basically. We're looking at a count difference of right now of 6 pins.
And he's checking.
He's checking. He's smart. He knows what's going on out there. He's been around a little while, and now he knows that if he just keeps the ball in the lane, gets a decent count, he'll be the winner. By a decent count, we're talking about 7 or 8 pins, and then make the spare, something like that. A strike, obviously. It's all over.
All right. There it is, $33,000 for Ballard, and both of those men very much in it for Player of the Year honors. And Ballard, a big payday here for him. He was 3rd in the money list before this finals. $133,000 and a trip for 2 to Korea in just 2 tournaments this year for this fella.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It sure is.
You know what, Jay? Del Ballard has proven to me that he can handle pressure tremendously well.
Well, he must have been listening to that song that he hums, The High Life. 229 to 214, Ballard a winner. The presentation's coming up right after these messages. Adults, and a splendid afternoon of bowling here in Glendale Heights, Illinois. And there is our champion. And first of all, Del, what a tremendous comeback you made after being open twice there.
Yeah, whenever I get on a good shot, I get really pumped up, and I have a tendency to really get too fast, and I just started rushing my shots real bad. And after I opened twice in a row, I think it was, I said, hey, you know, this is no way to bowl for a championship. You know, I said, you know, slow down and make sure you know what you're doing here.
You've won in just 2 tournaments, $133,000. You take $33,000 today, and also you've won a trip for 2 to the Olympics in '88 in Seoul.
Where is Seoul? I didn't do too good in geography.
That's a Texan talking. See, he's not worried. Well, we'll get you there. I promise you that.
I'll go. That's for sure.
All right. Arnie Fogel, who is the president of the Brunswick Recreation Centers, to present this trophy.
Del, congratulations to you. You stick with us, and we'll tell you where Seoul is, okay?
I'll follow you.
We've been at this 16 years now, and we started this week with 192 talented athletes. I think we ended with a very, very exciting match. We're pleased to host the Professional Bowlers Tour again. We hope you're going to come back next year, and hope that you have a large enough car to hold on to this trophy.
Oh, no, yeah.
Congratulations to you again.
Don't try to lift that up. Just kind of hold on to it. Tom White is here, of course, and he is the president of the Brunswick division, and he's got the check.
I'll tell you, this year I've got the check, Del. Congratulations. It's $33,000. This is the real thing, by the way.
Oh.
And also
it's not the big one.
the trip to Seoul goes along with that, you know, for you and a guest, and we're just so proud of you. On behalf of Brunswick, congratulations. Thanks for a great match.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to thank Brunswick and everybody here at Northern Bowl. They've treated me real well. I mean, they've been behind me all week. I really appreciate it.
And certainly all of us at NBC Sports would like to say thanks to Brunswick for all of your support. Let's bring in Earl Anthony now and get a question from him regarding what happened here this afternoon in this championship match.
Well, I was going to talk to you a little bit about what you've already mentioned, the fact that your feet got a little fast, but there's one other thing I wanted to bring up. You're the only player on the top 5 that shook hands with Mr. Goldhammer today. Did that bring you any luck, you think?
Yeah, he has a friend of his with him that said, you know, he's a champion. You ought to shake his hand. You know, you'll be one, too. And I shook his hand 3 or 4 times.
Well, he's going to be coming to Seoul also.
Yeah, all right, I'm going to hang around with him, I promise you.
All right, congratulations to our champion, Del Ballard, and to everybody here, and great, of course, to have our friend from Germany here for this activity. Coming up next, we've got the Kapalua Golf for you, except those watching out on the West Coast.
See the side turn on the ball. That'll get it farther down the lane before it hooks, but it'll create more back end. That's a good adjustment, but it could get him in trouble because it's hard to control the ball when you spin it or get more side turn on it. Hard to control the break point. Let's see how he does on the left lane, lane 51. More side spin. See the ball? And it hooked early, went through the nose, leaving a difficult spare, the 3-6-10. He's already had 2 opens, Jay, and if he gets another one, he's in real trouble with this match. Mark Williams on 3 in a row and seems to have figured out what to do with the ball on this pair.
He's won better than $26,000 this year. Williams over $28,000 to his credit. A good conversion there for Chris Warren. They call him Bonsai. We'll be back with more action in this $150,000 event.
Pin action. He had the 8-10 on a wall shot, a very light hit, and they all went. Here he is live now.
And he's in deep trouble, but he came away smiling after that last one, and he's left the 2-pin.
He's 52 pins down with only 2 frames to play. Mark Williams on a 5-bagger. This is his 9th frame. You see him trying to repeat the last shot, and he doesn't get quite the same break he got in the 8th frame. As you see the head pin go to the wall, almost the same leave. Got away with only the 2-pin. Very frustrated young man right now, Jay.
He got serious about bowling at age 13, and his appearance in the TV finals today gives him a perfect record of 3 top 24s and 3 TV finals for this year. But this man has been tough, and he leaves the 2-pin here in the 9th. Mark Williams with an average of 225 on the TV pair this week. He's the winner of this first match, and he'll be moving along. He'll go up against Leroy Bornhop, who is in search of his first PBA Tour event. Mick Lewis, the Budweiser region manager for corporate affairs, on hand here this afternoon. This $150,000 Budweiser Classic. And alongside there, Jeremy Lane. There's a strike for Williams.
Well, Mark is definitely a winner in this match, but they're not going to get any easier, Jay. As you go up the ladder, Leroy Bornhop has bowled extremely well this week, and that's the next guy up for Mark Williams. And then after that, they really get tough. Dave Husted and Emiliano Monticelli.
This fellow looked the best of the 5 in practice, and he certainly did right himself in this match early on, and he's finishing strong. This is a wonderful facility here in Columbus, Ohio, a state-of-the-art house, you might call it, Earl. It really is a very wonderful place to come for a tournament.
It is, and the Hadlers are outstanding as far as being hosts are concerned. They actually treat the players to a Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. As you know, we bowl through Thanksgiving in this area.
Williams, our winner, 235 his score, and he'll go up against Leroy Bornhop. We'll be back with more in just Bornhop.
Holiday greeting.
Strikes for Mark Williams, and he will start this second match of the afternoon going against Leroy Bornhop. Williams has had one 300 game this year. It's worth $100,000 from our friends at True Value if he can do it today. And a rugged start for him.
Something interesting as we watch a replay of Mark Williams throwing the ball here, Jay. Now watch the ball go well down the lane, and he's just a little pumped up. First ball of a new match. Got a little too much ball speed, didn't quite get back. This is a tough spare. Now he's going to try to make the ball cross between the 2 and the 4 pin. Didn't get it over far enough. He wanted that 2 pin to go all the way across and get out to 10.
When the lane conditions are rugged, Williams is one of the fellows who is adept at figuring out what's going on.
What he can do, basically better than most players on the tour, is he can overpower the condition, Jay. He can get the ball, because he's very strong physically, he can get the ball well down the lane and delay the break. And he's going to spin on that ball. Now, what he's trying to do here, Leroy Bornhop, and what's made him tough and got him into 3rd position at this point in the tournament, is that he can also spin the ball, and when you spin it, it doesn't hook. The ball spinning, it won't hook. See the ball spinning? Rotating sideways, in other words. And then when it grips the lane, it breaks sharply on the back. And as I mentioned earlier, the tough thing about spinning the ball and being able to control it, that's what's hard, trying to control the break point. If he makes any kind of an error with ball speed, the ball will either hook way too soon or won't hook at all.
This is his first championship round appearance of the year.
There it goes. That ball hooked too soon, Jay, and across the head pin, got a break.
Came away with a strike.
He did, but isn't what he wanted. I mean, he's happy to get the strike, but he's not happy with the ball, the way the ball reacts. Now watch the ball. Now on this one, see how he set that one down real early, real soon on the lane, and that makes it hook sooner. Cross the head pin. And that makes it tough to control the ball when you have to lay it down in the middle of the lane. That's why you see the players, most of them, almost every player today in the match playing that outside angle, somewhere outside the 2nd arrow, near the channel.
Bornhop has left the 2-5, and we'll give you a low-angle look at it.
And watch this. He is playing, like I said, out around the 1st arrow between the gutter and the, I shouldn't say gutter, the channel and the 2nd arrow. Again, the spin on the ball makes it hard to control the break point, but that, in Leroy's mind, is the only way he can keep the ball in play. It's a difficult lane condition, Jay, but the key is that it's a professional lane condition. And this is what the pros should bowl on every week. They should bowl on a lane condition that they have to make shots, not the kind that whoever can keep the ball on the lane gets a strike.